We got a lot to talk about today and the rest of this week. So, we're going to get right into what's real and what's fake from this past weekend. And for those of you that are new subscribers, what we do here every Tuesday is we take headlines from the past weekend and we determine which are real or true and which are fake or maybe an overreaction. So, first thing up, the Pittsburgh Steelers are the best team in the NFL. Fake. I got this one from Bleacher Report. Now, you might be wondering how I could consider this fake, how I could consider the Steelers not to be the best team in the NFL. They've got an elite head coach, future Hall of Famer at quarterback. They have arguably the best pass rush and one of the best defenses in the NFL. Oh, and they're undefeated. They're the only undefeated team left in the NFL. Now, for one, the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. But lost in the Steelers' 7-0 start is the fact that Big Ben Roethlisberger is not really playing all that well. I mean, at times he's been god-awful. For example, midway through the second quarter on Sunday against Baltimore, the Steelers had 65 yards of total offense. Statistically, the Steelers ranked 5th offensively. But let me tell you, this is not the 5th best offense in the league. I don't know if I would even consider the Steelers' offense top 10. The reason they're 5th is because the defense puts up points, which goes on the offensive stats. Pittsburgh is 25th in yards, 24th in passing, 16th in rushing. Big Ben has failed to throw for more than 200 yards twice this season. One of those times being Sunday against the Ravens. He doesn't look like the Ben Roethlisberger that threw for over 5,000 yards just 2 years ago. After beating the Ravens on Sunday, Big Ben said that it's not always pretty, referencing how the Steelers found a way to win ugly. I agree with him. It hasn't been pretty several times this season for Pittsburgh. They found a way to beat the Titans last week with Big Ben averaging just 5.5 yards per pass attempt. It was the same Sunday against Baltimore, 5.7 yards per attempt. The Ravens outgained the Steelers by 236 yards, yet they still lost that game. Yes, the Ravens lost that game. The Steelers didn't win it. We'll get to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens here in just a second. My point is, the Steelers are not the best team in the NFL right now because Big Ben isn't playing like a top 10 quarterback. Statistically, he ranks near the bottom of the league. And it almost seems like Mike Tomlin is, I don't want to say Mike Tomlin is covering or hiding Big Ben, but they're definitely compensating for him. They're limiting his pocket exposure. Big Ben is getting rid of the ball quicker than any other quarterback in the league. Lots of short passes, not many big plays down the field. Throughout his career, Big Ben has been known as a gunslinger. The Steelers are known for throwing the ball deep down the field. That is not happening this year. Roethlisberger had one completion against the Ravens that went over 20 yards. You know what the Pittsburgh offense is reminding me of? Drew Brees and the Saints. Dink and dunk. Short, quick passes. And at times throughout the game, they get into a lull or downright ineffective. And I'm not trying to jump all over Big Ben here, or even saying that he's playing poorly most of the time. He just doesn't look like the same quarterback. It's clear that the Steelers are going to rely heavily on their defense and have Big Ben just manage the game for them, which is why even though they're the last undefeated team in the league, they are not the best team in the league. All right, up next, Lamar Jackson needs to be better in big games. Absolutely real. I got this from Sports Illustrated. I'm going to take this a step further. If I'm John Harbaugh and the Ravens, I'd be a little bit concerned with Lamar Jackson. I'm not taking anything away from him. He's one of the most exciting players in the league to watch, but just because you are a highlight reel machine, just because you make unbelievable plays at times with your legs, doesn't mean that you are an elite quarterback. Right now, Lamar Jackson is not an elite quarterback. He almost reminds me of Michael Vick early on in his career. Most defenses in the league had a hard time stopping Michael Vick. Once he escaped the pocket, it was over. But you know how teams and defenses beat Michael Vick? They contained the pocket, kept him in the pocket, and forced him to beat them through the air. And most times he couldn't do it. It's the same thing with Lamar Jackson. So far this season, the Ravens have had two what I would call big games. Every game's a big game in the NFL. I mean, there's only 16 of them, but I'm talking about big games, rivalry games, or games against elite opponents. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens have lost both of them this year. He got blown out by Kansas City. He didn't even eclipse 100 yards passing in that game. Then Sunday against the Steelers, Lamar Jackson lost that game. Not the Ravens defense, not the coaching staff. The Steelers didn't win that game. Lamar Jackson lost it. He was god-awful. 4 turnovers, one being a pick six in the first quarter. He fumbled the ball in the red zone in the second quarter. Baltimore's up 17-7 early third quarter, trying to put the game away. Lamar Jackson throws another interception. It let Big Ben and the Steelers right back into the game. You cannot give elite teams that many opportunities. You are going to get burned. Lamar Jackson's turnovers were the difference in that game. Pittsburgh won by 4 points. 14 of their 28 points came off of Lamar Jackson's turnovers. Had he took better care of the ball, this week every sports show in the country will be talking about what I talked about the first 5 or so minutes of this video. Big Ben not playing that well. Instead, Lamar Jackson and his struggles in these big games are a topic of national conversation. And this isn't something new either. Lamar Jackson struggling in big games. He's 0-2 in the playoffs, with both losses coming at home. And both losses due to the fact that Lamar Jackson folded under the pressure. He's 0-3 against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Now, some pundits are making excuses for him. Oh, the Steelers and the Chiefs, they just have Lamar Jackson's number. They know how to stop him. You don't get to make excuses like that when you are a former league MVP and you draw comparisons to guys like Patrick Mahomes. This is a thing now for Lamar Jackson. This is an issue. Big game, big struggles. You know why he struggles in big games and in the playoffs? Because he is not an efficient pocket passer. I have been pounding this point since I started this channel on YouTube. Lamar Jackson has got to improve his pocket passing. Now, to his credit, he is a little better this year. We are seeing signs of improvement, but he's got a long way to go. And until he does, he's going to continue to struggle against teams like the Steelers, the Titans, the Chiefs. Teams that can pressure him while also keeping him inside the pocket. The Steelers abused Lamar Jackson on Sunday. They beat the hell out of him. Right now, the Ravens are not winning a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson. Baltimore's played 7 games this year. 4 of those games, Lamar Jackson is below 60% on his completion percentage. 54% against Kansas City, 51 against the Bengals, 59 against Philly, 46 against the Steelers on Sunday. That is not going to cut it. Lamar Jackson has got to be better. All right, up next, Baker Mayfield can't keep letting the Browns down. Real. I got this one from Fansided. I mentioned last week that the season-ending injury to Odell Beckham could be a blessing in disguise for Baker Mayfield. I figured that he would be a little bit looser. He would be more comfortable leading the Browns offense without having to worry about placating OBJ. That was not the case on Sunday. I've been saying all season, let's pump the brakes on Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. Yes, they went on a 4-game winning streak. Yes, they're in the playoff hunt. But Cleveland is the worst 5-3 team in the NFL at this point. And lost in all the excitement about the Browns potentially making the playoffs for the first time since 2002 is the fact that Baker Mayfield most of the time is playing like garbage. He's averaging just about 190 yards passing a game. 4 games under 60% completion percentage. 5 games under 200 yards passing. 1-3 record against winning teams. The only decent team that he's beaten is the Colts, and they should have lost that game. Baker Mayfield tried his best to lose that game. He was just outclassed by Phillip Rivers in the throwing games department. No one throws or loses a game like Phillip Rivers. He's the best in the league at it. The only one close is Matt Stafford in Detroit. I'm also starting to notice something about Baker Mayfield. He plays well one week, looks like an all-pro. Then the next week, he looks like he's throwing the ball blindfolded. He is inconsistent. He played well against Dallas, struggled against Indy, struggled against Pittsburgh, played well against the Bengals the following week, then struggled again Sunday against the Raiders, which was completely inexcusable. The Raiders have one of the worst defensive units in the league. They're 31st defensively in DVOA. They are a warm weather dome team playing on the road in what was horrible weather conditions in Cleveland. This should have been an easy win for the Browns. And defensively, the Browns played well, something that hasn't happened all year. That loss to the Raiders is on Baker Mayfield. You can't score 6 points at home against one of the worst defenses in the league. It's just inexcusable. The Raiders were the only team in the NFL to allow 24 or more points in every game this season, until they traveled to Cleveland and went up against Baker Mayfield. With 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, he was 12 of 21 with 122 yards. He finished the game 12 of 25 with 122 yards. The Browns were trying to get back in the game, down 10 points, and he throws 4 straight incompletions. Then he comes out after the game, says that he and the locker room are pissed off because they should be better than 5-3. Are you kidding me? The Browns are lucky to be 5-3. If they weren't sitting at 5-3 right now, with the way that he's played all season, Baker Mayfield wouldn't be the starting quarterback at this point. Cleveland should be 4-4. And if the Bengals weren't a young team still trying to figure out how to win games, they'd be 3-5. The bottom line is, Baker Mayfield is not getting it done. We see these small flashes of brilliance, like that game-ending drive week 7 against Cincinnati. Then the real Baker Mayfield returns. The guy we saw Sunday against the Raiders. All right, last thing up. Green Bay's loss to Minnesota and Tampa were anomalies. Fake. I got this straight from the mouth of Aaron Rodgers. Last year, I said that the Packers were the worst 13-3 team in NFL history. Something is off in Green Bay. Something seems to be missing. I don't know what it is. I don't think Aaron Rodgers knows what it is. I don't think Matt LaFleur knows what it is. But something is missing. Aaron Rodgers made several excuses for Sunday's loss to the Vikings. Oh, we were lacking energy. Maybe it was playing without fans. We had fans the last 2 home games and didn't have them today. It was cold and windy outside. When is it not cold and windy in Green Bay in November and December? The Packers lost to Minnesota because the offense was terrible. And the defense had no answer for Dalvin Cook. He ran up and down the field for 60 minutes of that game. Just like last year, I don't feel like the Green Bay Packers are a great football team. Other than New Orleans, they don't have a quality win. And the Saints were banged up at the time with Drew Brees struggling. They were blown out by Tampa a few weeks ago. Blown out again Sunday by Minnesota. The final score shows only a 6-point loss, but this game wasn't close. The Vikings led by double digits most of the second half. And the Packers' offense, they couldn't move the ball. Minnesota was down their starting cornerbacks. They had practice squad players out there on defense. Aaron Rodgers, he should have thrown for 500 yards against that Vikings defense, who has struggled all season. Defensively, the Packers, they can't stop anyone. They don't force turnovers. They're vulnerable in the secondary. They're dominated up front. They can't stop the run. If you took Aaron Rodgers off of this Packers team, they'd be 4-12. If he doesn't play flawlessly, Green Bay can't win. Now, they're going to win the NFC North by default. The Bears are anemic offensively. The Lions are inconsistent, and the Vikings are finished. They're done. So Green Bay's going to win the division. They're going to get a home playoff game. But when you have an aging future Hall of Famer at quarterback, it is Super Bowl or bust every year. And the Packers are not a Super Bowl contender. All right, that's all for today. Hit that like and subscribe button. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Leave me a comment in the section below. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me why Green Bay is a Super Bowl contender. Am I wrong about Big Ben and Lamar Jackson? Let me know your thoughts. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. If you have any questions, a topic you'd like me to discuss, you can email me at BTLKC84@gmail.com. I'll see you guys next time.